racism, on battle.net. These types of people just didn't racism, on battle.net. These types of people just didn't tend to inhabit these spaces as much. But nowadays, the internet has a lot more different types of people on it. Depending on the communities that you're in, when you start making certain types of jokes, now it's funny, not because it's like edgy or horrible, but because you're like a truth sayer. There's like a degree of honesty to what you're saying. Like, oh, well, when he says that black people are like this, it's funny because we're not supposed to say that because of how true it is. Or when he talks about the Jews, it's funny because we know that this is true, and that's why it's funny.
Yeah, and it's just like the fucking like the Andrew Tate phenomenon, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, you're gonna make a joke about women drivers, haha, whatever, right?
Yeah.
We know for a fact they're doing it for the people that are like, oh yeah, absolutely, women can't drive. These motherfuckers, like that, it's gonna like the kid of these people, and it kind of gets.
Yeah. So when people want to do stuff like that, the thing that I always say is, "Oh, what's the joke?" Like, because some people will just say, like, they'll say some shit like, "Oh yeah, like I know black people have low IQ, and that's why they're fucking retarded." And then you're like, "That's kind of crazy, bro." And he's like, "I'm just joking." Okay, well, what's the joke? Because they're not going to say, "Well, the joke is that obviously, like it's horrible to say this." They're going to say, "Well, the joke is that it's true, and you're just too scared to say it," and I said in a funny way. And it's like, okay, well, you're not joking, then. You're being mean. You're just being an asshole. You might be kind of funny when you're being an asshole, but you're not like telling jokes. Like you're.
Well, it has no tact. That's what you're saying.
Not even. I don't care about tact. I'm just saying that like you're not. When you engage in a joke, the idea is there's some level of like deception or misdirection or like broadly speaking. Obviously, there's different styles here, but that's like broadly speaking when you're talking about really edgy, dark comedy. Generally, that's what we're talking about. It's not usually just like, oh, well, this is just my way of being racist or hateful. That's generally not the point of like edgy humor. Usually, it can be, but if it is, for me personally, I don't want to be involved in those communities, and I don't ever want to be using edgy humor in those communities because when I say something and the intention is, well, obviously this is like a horrible thing, other people might be laughing and going like, hell yeah, brother, like I agree, exactly. There we go, hell yes, Destiny's woke on this, he's red-pilled on this, he knows that, and it's like, no.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is pretty much what I meant. I think Andrew Tate does a lot, in my opinion anyway. I feel like it's like how he gets a lot of points is like you make a joke, you make a comment, you make a whatever, you make like obviously like a hyperbole or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And it's like for a fact you can get away with it by saying, oh, it's a joke, right? And then for a fact that some people are like cheering it in the background, like, oh, absolutely, this is so true, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of my view on it anyway. Okay. Okay. Then what do you know about the other day then? Because I don't want to like waste your time or whatever.
What do I know about about the you and Aiden stuff?
Okay. So like, they went sideways because usually what happens with these guys is that I try to like kind of target intention. That's usually kind of how I do it, right? Like I know some of these guys like they're kind of they want to be edgy for being edgy. I don't like it, but sometimes. Whatever. Like I'll talk a little bit for the sake of like doing stuff and whatever, and I'm not gonna be big fuss about it. And usually it's not a big issue. You know, usually it's not like it doesn't break the flow of things and it's a disaster, right? Where I drew the line was very much with intention. That was because like some clip surfaced or something, and everybody was like, people thought I was like trying to hide or something like this, like kissing clip or whatever. It would be me and Austin show, right? And people were like thinking that I was like trying to hide it or something like that or some shit. And these guys, it's like they're like almost convinced that I'm gay, which is not something that I even try to defend. Is like why even bother? You know?
Okay.
Like I feel like, in my opinion, it's just like I think if these people want to push a joke like that, whatever. Right? It's like you're not going to convince them any otherwise. And even if you show that you try too hard to convince them that you care, they'll just poke at it even more, right? Is that true or not?
If somebody knows that you care about a particular thing, they'll attack it more if they're trying to genuinely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. If they're friends, they shouldn't be. But if they're haters, if people don't like you, then they'll poke that if they see that it's a vulnerable spot. Yes. Yeah.
So I didn't even bother like defending myself. Like, guys, I'm not gay. I swear. I kind of played into like whatever. I kiss guys. What about it? Right? Which was kind of my view actually, but whatever. It's kind of how I played it off of. And then sometimes we play COD or play whatever, right? And then they'll throw the F word here and there, right? And I can kind of see that the intention like is not in like an anti-gay way, and they're just kind of being edgy, or whatever, and I'll like tolerate to hear it, right? Because it's like, whatever, man. It's like, dude, I'm not. It doesn't like offend it personally, right? And they use like a plausible deniability of like, because they've used it like I think maybe 15 times in the past. The other day, like there was like a big emphasis on that like clip of like me kissing whatever, and there's like an added layer of how I felt anyway, of like hostility, almost like because of that, which is like only my view on it, right? So it's like it's up to interpretation at this point, right?
Okay.
But then, at one point, I think he said something like, "Oh yeah, like you kissed dude, blah blah blah, F word." Just kind of slams it, right? And I was like, okay, well, I think the intention there is pretty much just like, that's pretty much the way that I'm not gonna tolerate how it's being used, you know, like a very like targeted homophobia way. Like, did we agree to that or not?
I don't
say,
know
like,
the people enough. I mean, like, if I'm stereotyping based on Aiden and his friend group, my assumption would be that those guys are all super homophobic. So that'd be my assumption. But I don't know them.
Yeah. But still, I don't want to leave it up to chance at this point, right? I'm trying to give you context. Like, the phrase was like, "Oh yeah, you kiss dude, blah blah blah, F word," right?
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, I can kind of like tolerate hearing it, whatever, right? But that's just kind of like the intention would be to harm, right, or hurt somebody. Let's say I was gay, right? That, I mean, I think that would be pretty lame to fucking hear, right? It's not really the type of interaction or people that I want to like kind of be around, and 'cause if they're gonna operate that way, does that make sense? Does that make sense or not?
Sure. Yeah.
It's not really a method that I really agree with.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, this is like really lame.